Ladies and gentlemen, before we dig into the video, a quick announcement. Kaizen Training, that's me, Barkwan, Omar Isaf. We have a bunch of different programs to help you reach your goals, whether it's hypertrophy, strength, fat loss, whatever it is. And right now we're running a spring special. Use code SPRING18 and get 30% off any program you want. Limited time, check it out. We're also opening up our very limited group coaching. We have a Facebook group, we all chat. You get your form critiqued, you get to check in once a week with our homie Nigel, who's a super intelligent, strong coach. Check it out, kaizentraining.com. Link will be in the description and also in the comments. 30% off all programs, grab them now. And into the topic of the day, which is the keto diet. My experience with it, what I think is good about it, what I think is bad about it, how and when I used it, and who maybe I would recommend it for. For those that maybe don't know much about it, is a higher fat diet, moderate protein, and very low carb diet. So typically what you'll do is you'll want about 60 to 70% of your overall calories coming from fat, 20 to 30 from protein, and then maybe 10%, 5% or less coming from carbohydrates. This was first kind of brought about for epilepsy and to help other diseases. Our man, Dr. D'Agostino, I believe he's in Florida, he's studying all about it to help with different immune diseases and other things to help people be a little bit healthier and live a healthier life. It has gotten more popular in kind of the performance world or dieting world, as some professional bodybuilders and other people will use it to cut weight and to be in a calorie deficit. I tried it kind of based on a diet called the Carb Night, probably 8 years ago or so. I did it for maybe a year or two, living that low carb lifestyle, ketoed out of my mind, and I've gone through different cycles of it, trying different things. The rest of the video I'm going to kind of talk about, again, my experience, who I maybe think it's for, and it's going to be in regards to performance and people with an overall healthy life. Not talking about immune diseases or other things, so you can do your own research or comments on those things if you'd like, but that's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about someone who's generally speaking healthy and is just focused on performance, looking better, and kind of living a normal life, or using this as a regular diet. For myself, you know, the benefits I see, or for any individual, Con Air, the guy who edits and crushes all these videos, helping him do a little bit of keto with his own diet, and the things I think that can really help it out, or I can't even think straight. It's not picking it up, I just can't think.
We're in some sort of metal factory.
Yeah. Fortnite. The benefits of it that I think it can help some people is that it's insanely simple. For the most part, you just avoid carbs. No sugars, no carbs, no anything like that. And eat kind of red meat, eggs, things with higher fat. You can eat cheeses and different condiments that have a higher fat, and you can get away with it while you're traveling. It's very simple. Another effect that I had, or that keto had on me, I found that I was very satiated. Very often would go a full day and almost forget to eat, and that's the first time in my life. Coming from an inner fat kid who loves food, I'm constantly thinking about food. I always want to eat. My appetite's through the freaking roof, especially when I'm training heavy. On keto, after you get adjusted to it, my appetite just happened to go down, you know, and fat, eating high amounts of fat and protein tend to keep people pretty satiated. So that's another benefit, that if you have a really high appetite, this may help you out as well. Generally speaking, for me, myself, and and maybe some of you, the other benefit of keto is that you get to eat pretty good food. You know, things that I find delicious: steaks, eggs, etc. I ate In-N-Out Burger. I would even eat Chipotle and just not get rice or beans, or very minimal beans in a bowl, something of that nature. But it's foods that I look forward to eating. Chicken wings here and there, some types of sushi, and different foods that were very easy to stick to and were still satisfying to eat by taste. And they're fully on the diet and work very well. I do like to eat a variety of vegetables, and that's something on keto you don't typically do. Most recommend very green vegetables or low amounts of vegetables, as veggies do have some carbs in them, and if you start to eat higher amounts, then you know it may kick you out of ketosis and mess with your insulin, blah 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 blah, neither here nor there. I guess going into some of the negatives of keto that I experienced myself, and I've heard others experience, is that my energy, as I was powerlifting during the time, and maybe even playing basketball, I can't remember, but my energy was really low. I'd get through maybe a lift or two, and then my energy would just plummet. I wouldn't be able to get through the workout or recover from a workout as I would as if I was eating carbs of similar calories. And this may be just my experience, but I've heard others do the same or feel the same. Another thing is not only when I'm adjusting to the diet, but also just sometimes I would have a dull headache in general generally feel pretty lethargic. My energy daily, although sipping the same amount of caffeine, coffee, or whatever as I would while I'm eating carbohydrates, I would just generally feel kind of low energy and slow moving. Sometimes my thoughts were a little clear, but I feel like my thinking or my cognitive function was about the same as if I was eating carbs, but my body energy, getting up, lifting, walking, whatever, was always a little bit down. One of the major issues I found, trying to be a little bit more self-aware, looking back on doing the carb night or a ketogenic style diet for myself, is that I would have refeeds as per that exact diet. And I know some ketogenic diets may not, or other people might have cheat meals or whatever it might be, but it would be every 7 to 10 days. It would be a carbohydrate night where you kind of reset the system or get some glycogen in you to restore everything. And for me, what that led to is kind of a bad mental state of kind of the refeed binge, feel guilty, restrict myself, binge again type mentality, where I would literally be focused in on Friday because I could get that ice cream, rather than now, kind of tracking my food or being a little bit more intuitive with my eating, or just portion control, whatever you might want to call it. I just kind of fit in a little bit more of the junk food or things I like to eat in moderation throughout my week, and mentally I'm not focused on food as much as I was then. Although I know I said before that I wasn't hungry as much, so I wasn't thinking about my next meal, I was overall looking forward to that refeed, and then I'd end up probably binging or overdoing it more than I should, and then I'd feel bad about it, and then I'd go ultra restrictive for the next 7 to 10 days. I just think it could lead to a very bad cycle, especially if you have some type of addictive personality like myself and many people out there. It just led to a dirty cycle that I didn't want to get involved in, and now I'm in a little bit healthier relationship with food. Growing up, I just never really, even though my mom's pretty smart with nutrition, has a good general idea of it, and would cook us good dinners, I never had any idea of kind of moderation or portion control and tracking my food kind of on its own. I got that lesson and taught it to myself. You can track, and I do recommend you still track your food while you're doing a ketogenic diet, because studies have shown that overall calorie intake is going to be the defining factor when you're talking about body composition, whether gaining weight or losing weight, both ketogenic or carbohydrate style diet. Generally speaking, I think there's lifestyle things, there's the type of foods you like to eat, what sports you're into, how important your performance is, and maybe how your body reacts. That will kind of dictate for yourself what style of diet might work best for your lifestyle. I think that if you're powerlifting, playing basketball, football, soccer, something of that nature, eating carbohydrates not only will allow you to perform better, but also recover better. Tracking your food or having an idea of how many calories you're taking in with some quality micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, which often come from fruits and vegetables, having something a little bit more well-balanced both mentally and physically in your lifestyle is going to be best overall. But I would recommend, talk to a doctor if you have an health issue, because some of these diets may help you out. And if you are healthy, maybe try experimenting with a different style diet for anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. See how it affects you, both lifestyle-wise, mental-wise, and physically. I think those are going to be important for you to kind of run mini experiments on yourself to figure it out. Again, guys, appreciate you. 30% off all programs, spring 18, kaizentraining.com. Head towards your goals. I appreciate you. Catch you in the next video. Salam Mike. Alan Thrall's butt. We're out of here.
So guess what? Today, January 26th, 2018, marks 1 year since I started keto. I'm going to look back on this past year, going to look forward to kind of what my goals are for the future. I'm going to start right now. Hey guys, welcome to AD Keto. My name is Aaron. This is the channel where I talk about the ketogenic diet. I do some keto food vlogs. I do some keto product reviews, and I do some keto recipes. If this is your first time here, please consider subscribing and do click the bell icon if you do. That way you'll get a notification whenever I upload new content. So guys, it's been a year since I started keto. It seems hard to believe. Seems like just yesterday that I started. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the year that's been, and then I want to talk a little bit about what my plans are for this coming year. I started keto in January of 2017 after years and years and years of struggling with my weight and sort of yo-yoing I think like a lot of people, I was in really good shape in high school. I was an athlete. I played basketball. And when I went to college, man, did stuff fall apart. People always talk about the freshman 15. I think my first semester at college, I gained 30 pounds, came home 30 pounds heavier than I left. And then that's when my yo-yoing started. I would go through phases where I'd be heavy and then hit a point where I said, this is enough. I got to turn it around and get going in the right direction. It's just been a pendulum for like the last, 25 years of my life. Until this January when I discovered keto. I had seen keto. I would often look at places like r/lose it on Reddit for inspiration to see like progress pictures and transformation pictures, and thought maybe that could be me. Maybe I could do this. So I'd seen keto, the word keto in passing. I never really investigated it. But in January of this year, I really dug in and did some research for a couple days, and then dove in head first to this way of eating. I was roughly 274 pounds. This was me back then. Kind of miserable, not comfortable in my own skin, bereft of energy most of the time, just not feeling good. And a friend of mine at work turned me on to keto, and I knew within the first 3 days that it was for me. After a very, very slight bout of keto flu, the third day of me taking on this way of eating, I woke up feeling amazing. I woke up with a clear head. I woke up not hungry. I woke up with energy. I woke up well rested. And that has just continued. And it's the main reason the weight loss has been great, but those benefits are just why I'm staying with it. The big thing with the diet was in the beginning, doing what I'd heard and keeping my macros to 75% fat, 20% protein, 5% carbs. And I was really strict with that for the first 5 or 6 months that I was eating this way. Kept my carbs really low, tracked every single morsel of food that went into my mouth. And by November of 2017, I'd hit my goal. I started 2017 with the goal of going from 275 to about 215, which is what I weighed when I was, 18, 19 years old. And so I hit that goal in November, early November, and I was really proud of myself. This is the first sort of diet, quote unquote diet, that I've ever done that I stuck with long enough to hit the goal that I set. And what I found was that along the way, I set some new goals. I thought that I wanted to try to get down to Wonderland. I thought that I wanted to try to get down to under 200 pounds. But being a tall guy, when I got to around 215, I felt really comfortable. And I felt like, I don't know that I need to get to Wonderland. It's just an arbitrary number. I feel fantastic. This is the best I've felt in my entire life, basically. I've been in maintenance for a couple of months now, keeping around anywhere between like 212 and 217. I don't weigh myself daily anymore. I weigh myself maybe once every couple weeks. And I've been in this area, I feel like I did make some mistakes along the way. I feel like I've learned from those. If I had to do it all over again, there are definitely some things I would do differently. The first of which is I wish that I had found the keto Instagram community earlier on in my weight loss journey. I cannot begin to tell you guys how amazing and supportive the keto Instagram community is. It's unbelievable. I've made some really good friends there, and people who are of the same mindset, people who are going through the same thing. It's really something. It's amazing. And, in the beginning, I was using Reddit a lot for research. I still do use Reddit for, doing some research. Reddit has an amazing FAQ, but I found Instagram to be invaluable just for the support and for the camaraderie and for the fun. There are people on Instagram some of whom you've seen on this channel already. Like there are people who have been on this channel that I met through Instagram. There are people that you'll be seeing in the coming weeks that I've met on Instagram who are some of my favorite people in the world. They're just fantastic. So that's the first thing I would suggest is if you're starting out this journey, find the support that you need, whether it's in your real life or whether it's people on the internet. There are people out there who are doing the same thing you're doing and going through the same things you're going through and have the same questions and have some answers. So if you're new to keto, seek out your people. Find some people who are going through what you're doing, and I highly recommend Instagram. If you're over there, you can find me, and it's a great place to be. So that's the first thing I would have advised myself back in January. Find your peeps. The second thing that I would tell January 2017 Aaron, this guy right here, is that fat is not a target. You don't need to eat fat because you want your pie chart to look a certain way. The classic keto macro pie chart, 75% fat, 20% protein, 5% carbs. Or what I really needed to focus on was getting my protein. As long as I got my protein, as long as I had enough protein in my diet to maintain my muscles and I kept my carbs low, fat could be anything. Fat is not a target that I had to hit because I have enough fat on my body, especially back in January 2017, I had enough fat on my body to use for energy. I didn't necessarily need to eat it. There were days when I was stuffed to the gills and peeling an avocado because I needed to hit my fat target. Not necessary. Eat when you're hungry, but don't feel like you have to hit some fat target because fat's not a target. You're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days. Don't beat yourself up. If you have a bad day, like Luke Skywalker, brush it off and start again the next day. You'll be fine. The third thing that I would tell myself if I were just starting keto is to take pictures and take measurements. I have only a handful of pictures from around the time that I started keto. I didn't like pictures being taken of me because I was not feeling comfortable with myself. Like this one, on the day I started, watch out, there's some major dad bod coming up. This is me on the day that I started keto, and I blurred out my face. Didn't want to even have anyone know that this was me, but that's me back in January. And here is me from just a couple weeks ago. Major difference. That's 60 pounds down. So take those pictures because you're going to want to look back at them and look at how far you've come. And measurements too. I never took measurements of myself when I started. I wish that I had. The only real measurement I have is my waistband on my jeans. I was between a 40 and a 42 back in January, and I'm wearing 34s now. So that's the only real measurement that I have from back then. So 2017 was all about losing my weight, getting down to where I was comfortable in my own skin, which I've done. So for 2018, going forward, I have some definite plans for this year. The first is maintenance. There are 3 M's basically. The first one is maintenance. I'm going to stay in this zone between 205 and 215. I'm very comfortable here. That's maintenance. That's where I'm going to be. The second M, is muscle. I'm going to try to add some muscle this year. I've been doing 100 push-ups a day. I have a video coming up on this 100 push-up a day challenge that I've given myself. So I've been doing that. And then the third M is marathon. I am going to run for the second time the Mohawk Hudson Marathon here in New York's Capital District. I ran it back in 2012, finished it, but felt really, really bad. Felt like my body was exploding the entire time. Hit the wall at about mile 22 because I was on the standard American diet. I ran out of fuel. I'm excited to do it this year because I'm fat adapted, and I've been running half marathons on the weekend without really batting an eye. It's running fat adapted is something else. So I'm very excited to train for that and to give it another go in October. So that's been my first year of keto. I really appreciate you guys sticking around. Let me listen to me kind of talk about what it's been like for this last year. If you're considering this way of eating, I highly recommend it. do some research and just dive in. It is amazing. Let me know where you guys are in your journey. Have you just started? Are you thinking about starting? Have you been doing it for a while? What are your goals? And I'd love to hear from you. So I hope you dug this video. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you next time. Hey guys, welcome to AD Keto. For the second time, run the Mudson Hohawk. Mudson Hohawk.
Hey guys, it's Monika. This is a collaboration video about diets, and the title is actually going to be Keto Low Carb After 50, Beating the Weight Gain Game. You know, can you really beat the weight gain game? Our bodies change as we age. Can we really succeed at this? So yeah, a lot of good questions in this, and I'm going to be honest with you and talk to you about the struggles I've had and I continue to have. If you're looking for a happy ending, a huge, wonderful success story, it's not here, not yet, not for me. But maybe for some of the other ladies that are going to join me in this collab. So let me briefly introduce them to you, then we'll get right to the questions. Natalie, the beauty diva, needs no introduction. But if you've been watching Natalie, you probably have noticed that her face has changed. She has obviously visibly lost weight. I don't know how much she's lost, but I do know that she is on a keto or maybe low carb or a combination of both type of a program. So I'm going to be really curious to hear her story, and I'm going to definitely link her video below. The other lady is Marlene Fab and Glam, and if you don't know who Marlene is, you need to definitely check her out. I'm sure you do. She has the most amazingly gorgeous purple hair. She is like one heck of a vibrant, sexy woman. And even though her channel says Fab and Glam After 50, she's after 60 now. And the third person, this is Marjorie. Marjorie should actually be called the Keto Diva, but her channel is actually Keto and Coffee with Marjorie. And Marjorie is a pure keto fanatic. I believe that she follows the ketogenic program to the T. She works her macros, she does her blood test, she does everything. She's a pure keto person. I am going to really be curious to hear what Marjorie says, what Marlene says, because Marlene has obviously lost weight, and what Natalie has said. They're going to share with you their journey, their successes, the whole 9 yards. I'm going to answer these test questions. Test questions. Get real estate school on my mind. I'm going to answer these questions. I'm going to try to answer them all. Some I may just skim over. But the first one is, how old are you? How much have you lost and over what time frame, and how long did it take? So I'm 64, no secret about that. I have lost over 60 pounds over a 3 to 4 year period. I've had ups and downs. It hasn't been easy. I've had some successes and I've had some failures, and I've had some health issues as I've traveled through my diet journey. So question number 2, out of all the diets out there, low calorie, Weight Watchers, why did you choose a keto or a low carb program? For me, the answer is pretty simple. I had tried every diet out there. I have always been a big girl. I've never been thin. My sister is tiny, she's thin. I've never been like that. So I've always been big boned. I'm 5'6". You know, I'm big boned, and so I've always had weight issues, and I've always been a yo-yo dieter. So many years ago, I don't even know how long ago it was, I lost a lot of weight following the Atkins diet program when Atkins was all the rage. And then I fell off of that, gained it back and gained more back. And then I did Weight Watchers. I tried to do Weight Watchers, the point system, that failed. And then I did the gym system. I went to the gym 7 days a week, spin class, body pump, all of that, and that failed. So, and then when I was president of the New Hampshire Association of Realtors in 2010, and I was just so totally disgusted with myself. I was giving speeches, I was addressing our members. There are videos of me as president addressing our members, and I kept looking and I'm like going, oh. So in 2010, I said, I've got to do something, and I started a diet program. I did really well for a few months. I fell off. I gained it back, I gained more back. So from 2010 to about 2015, I was up and down like crazy. I mean, a total yo-yo. And finally, I did some research and I said, I've got to really get on a good diet program. And at the time when I was researching it, keto wasn't sort of like in everyone's vocabulary. In fact, when I started keto, people were going keto. People hadn't heard of keto, so it wasn't like a popular diet, you know, like it is now. So I did research on keto and I said, okay, I'm going to do this. But I found keto to be very hard for me because I did it the right way. I wanted to do the pure keto way, macros, counting your macros, eating your ratios of fat, protein, and carbs right to your macros. That meant no processed food. That meant I couldn't buy snacks. You know, everything had to be natural. I couldn't eat Atkins bars, but I gave it a shot. I gave it my best shot and I did really well. I lost a lot of weight. I think I lost like about 50 pounds. And then I got sick. I was sick for a whole year, undiagnosed. And I ended up losing my gallbladder and I lost my last 10 pounds during the time frame that it was really super sick. So I had emergency surgery, lost my gallbladder, which I'm not necessarily going to say it's related to the diet, but most times when you have gallbladder issues, it is related to your diet. So anyways, I lost my gallbladder. I ended up having a lumpectomy, which I know had nothing to do with my diet. But the last year that I was really good keto, I was very sick. And I looked it. So that brought me to the 60-pound mark. And then I stopped. So question number 3, are you still doing keto low carb? I am definitely still doing low carb. I live a low carb lifestyle. I have lived a low carb lifestyle. We have no bread, we have no potatoes, we have no rice, we have no pasta. All of the things that you normally associate with carbohydrates, we don't have in our house. So I lead a low carb lifestyle, but I am not doing keto. I don't count my macros. I eat more higher carbs than ever before because one of the things that I've done is when I fell off the keto wagon, I found myself gaining 8 pounds back in between 2016 and summer of 2017. I gained 8 pounds and I was pretty disgusted with myself. During that time frame, my job changed. I went from working part-time to working full-time for the company I'm at, which meant that I didn't have any time for the gym. I was also still working real estate, so I was doing full-time teaching in real estate and then doing real estate sales. So I found myself working a lot and no gym time, but I gained 8 pounds. Try as I might, I'd stay on low carb, I'd stay on keto, I'd fall back off. I could not successfully reboot myself for the life of me. And in 2018, that 8 pounds turned to 14 pounds. So in summer of 2018, I said, I've got to do something. During that spring, I kept trying to reboot. I couldn't. It's very hard to reboot. It's very hard to get back on the wagon once you've fallen. It's very hard to find your motivation once you've lost it. So part of it is menopause. Do you think that diets, and that was question number 4, are diets affected by menopause? Absolutely. There's no way in menopause that you can lose the weight as easy as you could before. And even my thin friends that have never had weight issues at all of a sudden found themselves having bellies when they hit menopause. So they would have these big middles when they hit menopause. And I always said, well, I guess I'm kind of glad that I was fat all over instead of being thin and now all of a sudden looking like I've got 6 months of baby in me or something. But menopause definitely is a big impact for sure. Number 5, how did you feel on keto? Keto, pure keto, to me, I loved it when I was on it, but it was just too restrictive for me to maintain. Modified low carb was beautiful because modified low carb meant I could have Atkins bars. I could have those cheats. You can't have an Atkins bar and say you're on keto. It's not keto approved. You can't be eating things you buy in the store and say you're on keto. In reality, the pure keto, if you read up on it, now it's all completely different. So I did feel better low carb living for sure. I mean, every time I eat a carbohydrate, I would feel whatever. Getting back to this past summer, and I was looking at 14 pounds weight gain, and I could see it in my face, I could see it in my stomach, I could see it in my clothes. I didn't go up a size, but everything was tighter. You know what I mean? You know, like you're standing there and you zip your pants up and you go, you're seeing a belly, you know, you're wearing, and I always wear baggy tops. When your big loose baggy tops start to feel a little more snug, you know, around your waist and around your hips and all that, there's only so much fooling yourself you can do, I think. I love being low carb, but I just could not reboot purely low carb. So the biggest and hardest part of that, any diet program, and that's question number 6, is once you fall, getting back on. So I did a lot of research, and I knew that I probably could not successfully with my lifestyle maintain a pure keto diet. I also knew that I could not probably do low carb because I think with my lifestyle that I was not going to the gym now, I was not working out every day, I had to address my caloric intake. I had to look at how much I was consuming based on how much I was burning off. I have an Apple Watch, and before I had an Apple Watch, I had a Fitbit. I love having a tracker. It does help you stay on track, and that was an eye-opening thing when I started to look at it and saying, wow, I ate all of this, but I only burned this much. So I knew that I needed to reboot my metabolism somehow. And so I did more research, and and there was a couple of women I work with that had been for years on something called isogenic, which I kind of poo-hooed when they talk about it, poo-hoo, you know, because it's multi-level marketing, I'm not going to pay to have a meal replacement, blah, blah, blah. So all of a sudden I sort of went back to one of the ladies and I said, can you tell me more about this program? And she'd been on it like for 3 years. She lost all her weight. She didn't look sick. She looked good. She had a vibrancy to her skin. She just really looked good. So she said, yeah. So she says, it is expensive. 1 can of this isogenic and it's a pure 100% meal replacement. So it isn't just a protein supplement, 100% meal replacement. So stop thinking about how much it's costing you, $39 for a can, and think about that's 14 meals. And if you do the program the way you are supposed to do it, that's your food. So for me, for weight loss, 2 meal replacements a day, and then 1 fork and knife meal at night, or you could have it in the morning or in the afternoon, depending on your schedule. 1 fork and knife meal a day, calories about 600, depending on how active you are. So I said, well, I know. And then there's cleanse days. You do 2 cleanse days a month. I'm like, oh, I don't know. But I was desperate. And so I said, I'll do the 30 days. I bought the initial 30-day plan. And I said, I'm going to give it 3 months. So I started at the end of June. And I do this in conjunction with my low carb lifestyle. So I have the meal replacement. It's about 240 calories. I normally will make it. I do some ice cubes. Sometimes I take some frozen blueberries. I put them in there. And the meal replacement itself is about 24 carbohydrates. There's 8 grams of fiber. There's some sugar in there. So when you subtract everything out and you look at, you know, your net carbs and all of that stuff, it's still relatively low carb. And you were also relatively decent calories. So each meal replacement was like 245 calories. It made sense to me. So I did that. We went away. I packed my meal replacements. I was really good. Came home from vacation. I lost weight. I was like, wow. And I drank. If you saw some of the videos and clips that I did, I drank. I had ice cream. We ate out. And I lost weight. So that was really an eye-opener thing. So question number 8, what food do you eat? I just answered that. Right now, currently, I'm doing 2 complete meal replacements. And then 2 hours later, you're supposed to have a snack. Your snack is supposed to be around 100 calories. You can have a little bit more if you want. Most of the time, my snack is a hard-boiled egg in a little container with some mustard. Sometimes it's celery sticks. Sometimes it's peppers. Most of the time it's a vegetable, sometimes it's yogurt, sometimes it's a sliced couple of cheese, whatever it is that comes out to be 100 calories. So I have that. 2 hours after I have that, I have my second meal replacement. I make this up in the morning. I make my 2 shakes, 2 snacks for the day, and I put it in a little thing, and I drink a ton of water. So to me it works. And alcohol, I've gone out, I've had alcohol. I'm not a huge big drinker. I was in my younger years, but I'm not anymore. So alcohol isn't a really big issue for me. But if I do drink, I try to stick to a low carb, low sugar drink if at all possible. Although I love a margarita and I love strawberry daiquiri, so I will indulge in that as well. I won't deny myself. So question number 9, what motivates you the most? Every day I wake up, I start my motivation. I say to myself, you woke up. Everyone around you that you love has woken up. You have another day to make a difference. You have another day to make a good decision. You have another day to take a step in the right direction. Thank you, Lord, for giving me that day. So every day when I wake up, it may sound corny, but I'm highly motivated. Every night before I go to bed, I try to think of 3 things that I did, that happened to me, that people that I love, that were good, that were positive. So I try to go to bed at night with positive reinforcement. And that, I think that's really, really huge. I also find motivation from people around me. I've joined, like when I did isogenics, I joined a couple of isogenic groups, so I listened to their recipes. When I was pure keto, I joined pure keto groups. When I was pure keto, one of the things that I found out about was the fact that a lot of times women had reported hair loss, and I was like going, holy crap, I don't want to lose my hair. So one of the things that they were suggesting on the keto boards at that time was to make sure you got a really good collagen supplement, and you took good supplements, and they had their recommendations of supplements, and one of the things they talked about was the collagen, and they said make sure the collagen you get is not mixed with a bunch of crap and fillers and this and that. You want pure as you can get, good collagen. And that's how we actually found the Great Lakes collagen at that time, because it was recommended heavily in the keto boards that I was in as the collagen of choice for a keto approved diet. And so we started to really use it. The other thing is MCT oil. Get a really good type of a fat. MCT oil without a whole bunch of stuff in there is excellent, as well as Kerrygold butter. That's my butter of choice. These are the type of things that I did find out in those groups. And in the support system groups, is you're not always going to be successful. You're going to have your failures without a doubt. And give yourself permission to not always make it every day be a good keto day or a good low carb day or a good diet day. Give yourself permission to have a cheat. And just plan those cheats as much as possible. I think if you plan a cheat, I'm going out to dinner tonight, we're going to this restaurant, I know I love their onion rings. I'm going to have their onion rings. So I'm going to plan that. It makes it very, very different than when you're walking by a place and you see a sign and you go, I've got to go in there and have an onion ring or something of that nature. Support system is really, really huge, and I think if you surround yourself with people that are in the same kind of a frame, it doesn't matter what diet. Because quite truthfully, any diet you start today is going to make a difference on you, because anytime you do something different to your body reacts, and it's usually with some initial weight loss. So surround yourself with people that are in the same frame of mind as you, because you can get motivated from other people around you. Number 11, do you have more to lose, and do you plan on staying on your current diet lifestyle? I do have more to lose, and it becomes that choice between your skin, your face, and your bum, your body. Skin isn't firm, so do I want to have skin cheeks and look really sick and have a good body? I don't know. It becomes that decision. I don't want to age my face for the sake of my butt, but I also want to be healthier, and I think that I'm healthier at a lower weight than at a heavier weight. So yes, I do have more to lose. My main goal is to not gain weight. I'm so happy that I broke the cycle, because I broke it at 14 pounds. Can you imagine if I didn't break that cycle? I could probably be sitting here saying, well, I'm now 20 pounds or 22 pounds, you know what I mean? So I broke the cycle, and for me that's good, because I really struggled with that. Recognizing I needed to refine my motivation, I needed to reboot my diet, and I needed to be successful was important to me. So yeah, I have some to lose. I'm going to monitor it very carefully. I just don't want to gain. So number 12, what is your secret weapon? What advice would you give your best friend if she's starting this path? I would tell her to carefully check your diet. I think low carb living is probably the most successful ultimate diet anyone can be on. Big secret weapon for me is to drink a ton of water. Make sure you get your vitamins. Make sure you're physically checked. Drink a ton of water. If you're a woman, even if you're a man, get on a collagen bandwagon, whatever. Get yourself a good protein supplement. If you don't like to eat a lot of meat, get yourself a good solid protein supplement. This is a meal replacement. So if you were just having regular meals and you just wanted to drink some protein, this would probably be too high calories for you. But there are protein supplements that, you can just drink 40 grams of protein and be done with it without all the other stuff. Just accept who you are and recognize that every little step you take brings you in the right direction. Don't listen to the naysayers. Don't listen to the people that sabotage you. Don't listen to people that want to throw torpedoes at you. You're never going to please everyone. And in your heart, it's you have to live with. And you have to find acceptance of yourself. And you have to be honest with yourself. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and be totally honest with yourself. Get on the scale, monitor it. Don't be afraid. Monitor it and say, okay, here's what it is. And be honest with yourself, and here's what I'm going to do. And don't let the naysayers or the people that are going to torpedo you, don't let them in your brain. Don't let them in. Keep that door closed. It's important that you find yourself, and it's important that you do it for you. You can't do it for anyone else. You really can't. It's got to be for you. And I'm sure you can do it. I'm sure you can do it. We're on this journey together, and I just hope, and I've said this to a few friends, if you see me fall, speak up. Help me. Help me. Even if I'm too embarrassed to say help me. Help me. We all need help. And nobody wants to fail, and it's embarrassing when you fail. So yeah, speak up. Let's help each other. So I'm really, really excited to watch the videos that Natalie and Marlene and Marjorie, their diet videos, their journey. I'm sure it's going to be a little bit different than mine, but more importantly, we're supporting each other. We really are. In many, many ways, we're supporting each other. We're all women, we're all mature, and we're all struggling with our fitness, with our health, and in some cases with our skin as well. And we have to find that wonderful balance. We have to find ourselves in this journey, and we have to be true to ourselves. So with that said, I know this is super long. I'm going to link everyone below. I totally appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, any keto questions, any diet questions, low carb questions, please let me know. I'll do my best to answer. To me, low carb living is the best way for me, and I'm just coupling it with a good, healthy meal replacement, and that seems to have kick-started me, and that makes me happy. It really does. Bye, guys.